Today, Devontae Smith. He needs 6 yards to become the all-time leading receiver by yards in Eagles postseason history. Rex, who do you think holds that record?
Harold Carmichael.
Harold Carmichael is right.
Come on.
Holy smokes. Okay. Unbelievable. Sal Palantonio.
I got that right.
Sal Palantonio, as always, is in Philadelphia for us. Sal, what is going on as we get set for this one between the Eagles and the Rams?
I got one word for you, Michael. How about hail? It was freezing rain, snow, and now it is hail. It's all kind of I-95 yuck right now coming down here in South Philadelphia. About an hour before game time, it's supposed to start snowing and snow throughout the game. Here's the weather alert just handed to me by VP of Grounds, Tony Leonard for Lincoln Financial Field. And the weather alert says 2 to 4 inches will accumulate by 5 p.m. So they will be playing in what Tony Leonard said would be a snow globe here at Lincoln Financial Field. And the preparations that are being done by the equipment staff for both of these teams, but particularly for the Eagles, is to find the right size cleat, especially if you're running back Saquon Barkley, because so much of what the Eagles do offensively goes through their running game. He had a great day, of course, everybody knows, in Week 12 against the Rams out there in Los Angeles. And yesterday, I was on the phone with LaShawn McCoy, who had a very famous snow game here, and I'll do my Chris Berman imitation. I was there. I remember 2013, December 8th, he ripped off 2 big runs in the snow to bring the Eagles back in that football game against the Detroit Lions. The quarterback that day, of course, was Matthew Stafford. And Shady told me that Saquon texted him yesterday, quote, "Hey, bro, how'd you do so well in the snow?" And so later on in the day, Saquon and I were texting back and forth, and he texted me and he said he sent the recipe for running in the snow to Saquon and to the equipment staff. As you can see, the text was on the screen. But basically, the 2 running backs were getting together to try to figure out to get the right cleats, because we're going to be playing football in the snow here in South Philadelphia, Greeny.
2 to 4 inches before 5 o'clock, which should be sometime in the third quarter. All right, Sal, outstanding as always, and we'll be counting on you throughout this day. Let's do opening kicks. Awesome. Weather, a huge factor today. We'll be talking about it at length. In fact, we will have a very close look at some of the special provisions that the players and the coaches will be making for the game. But let us do opening kicks here. What do these teams need to get right? Teddy, go first.
All right, I'll focus on the Philadelphia Eagles and how they need to deal with those 2 to 4 inches of snow. And Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, you look at that play card, wherever it says give it to Saquon, call that play, because you are going to let that big offensive line lean on this Ram defensive line. That's the way it should be. Don't get cute here. You got the best running back in the game this season. Let him show it. You want to hit a couple slants to AJ, get it going, safe passing game. Weather's going to matter, though. Keep it safe, keep it short, give it to Saquon.
All right, let's stay with this game, but on the other side of the ball. Listen, if the Rams are going to win today, it is going to be because of their quarterback, Matthew Stafford, and throwing the football. And one thing he's going to have to do specifically is beat man coverage. You can see him out there right now with the weather, freezing rain, snow expected later. He's going to get a big dose of man. All season long, they are one of the best offenses against zone. They have struggled specifically against man, and they did in this first matchup. They went 0 for 8 on 3rd down. They're going to have to figure it out today to have a chance. Let's see it, Rams. Come on, Matthew.
Brew mentioned the Kellen Moore. When it says give it to Saquon, well, guess what? Todd Monken, offense corner of the Ravens, give it to Derrick Henry. Any of those plays? Yeah, let's give it to him. 199 yards the last time these two teams met. Last week, 26 carries for Derrick Henry, 183 yards. The conditions tell you to run it. Hard to tackle a guy in the cold, especially that big beast.
All right, fellas, I'll finish it up with the Buffalo Bills and how just everything Josh Allen has to be for this team. Running the football, quarterback called runs. I mean, the offensive line, bringing in the extra lineman Anderson and then letting him work. You got to run the football, Josh. James Cook also has got to complement that, but this guy, he's going to have to put on the cape, fellas.
Weather's going to be a factor in that one as well. So Josh wearing a cape. Let's see what Saquon is wearing as he arrives today. Oh, stylish. Stylish.
Looking sharp in Philly.
Turtleneck, double-breasted overcoat. Go ahead, young man.
Let's see if he is ready.
I can
for
see
another.
J.D. McCoy wearing that.
He had over 3.
What makes or breaks this game. For more on it, we bring in Eagles reporter Tim McManus and Rams reporter Sarah Barshop. Tim, I want to start with you. Saquon put up that career-best 255 against the Rams in Week 12. What is he saying about today's round 2?
Barkley fully expects to be the center of the Rams' attention, and that's what happens when you go for that 255 and you score 2 touchdowns of 70-plus yards in the first matchup. So he thinks that they're going to concoct something to try to slow that down as much as possible. And talking with Barkley and some of his teammates and coaches this week, they've been saying how much better this Rams defense has gotten since that Week 12 matchup. That being said, there remains a high degree of confidence that the running attack can sustain even with the extra attention. But if they do sell out to try to stop the run, the way that Barkley put it, we have some pretty good receivers and a pretty good quarterback who can, quote, light it up if need be.
Yeah, you're right. And it's not like 255 is the bar that Saquon has to get to again. If he bites off 170, 150, damage certainly done. Sarah, to that point, you talked to Rams players about Saquon. What did they tell you about facing him and trying to stop him today?
The conversations in the Rams locker room this week among defensive players was them saying they just need to do their 1 of 11. That's something that Jared Verse said hasn't been the case all season as this young unit has grown. And he said it was especially apparent in that Week 12 game against the Eagles when Barkley set that franchise record for rushing yards. Now, Verse said there were times in that game, especially in the first half, that he was trying to make an impact on the game, only then to turn and see Barkley or quarterback Jalen Hurts in that same space that he had left. Colby Turner, a defensive captain, told me that this Rams defense took a lot of accountability from that loss, and he said that was a turning point for the group this season. Now, Verse said after that game that Barkley was unlike any running back he had ever seen. So I asked him this week what he learned and what do you expect to see around 2. And he said the same thing we saw last time. He's fast, he's strong, he can break tackles. And he said he's a dangerous man if you let him do what he can do. The good news, Verse said, is that while it's one thing to beat a team once, as the Eagles did earlier this season, it's a lot harder to do it a second time.
They're certainly going to try, Sarah. According to ESPN Bet, the Eagles currently favored by 6.5 points, which is about the same amount and number of inches of snow might be falling in the link come game time. Sarah, Tim, much appreciated. Stay warm tonight.
Yeah, Sarah's very excited about the snow.
She is,
all
of
the way
course.
From Los Angeles. Damian Woody, Herm Edwards back with us. D. Wood, I'm going to start with you. Hey, what do you expect from Saquon here in round 2 against the Rams?
Listen, if it worked the first time, you're going to try it again and see if they solve the problem. Yeah. When you rush for 255 yards, I mean, that's what we call a bloodbath up front. You know, the Eagles' offensive line totally dominated that game. And, you know, when I look at this game, you know, the Los Angeles Rams talk about stopping Saquon. You know what it's really all about? It's really a numbers game because the Rams commit all these players to stopping Saquon, just like earlier in the report. That's one-on-one on the outside. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, they'll have plenty of opportunities. So if they can't stop Saquon with just 7 people in the box, to me that works out in Philadelphia's favor.
Coach, how can they slow him down?
Well, I would